Welcome in, everybody, to Main Street Sports. Today, I'm David Wilson. Sorry for the technical difficulties on my end as we try to get going here on a throwback Thursday here in Nashville, Tennessee. Be joined today by Maurice Patton, my partner in crime, who's taking a much-deserved couple days off as we ingratiate myself and Calvin White into the team. Looking forward to today's show and backing up what we did yesterday here on Main Street Sports today. Got a good show coming for you guys this afternoon. I'm going to be talking about a variety of topics. Obviously, it is MLB trade deadline day. Mo and I are going to be searching and scouring the internet to see if our Braves make any trades as they kind of continue to plummet not only the NL East standings, but in the Major League Baseball standings altogether. I'm going to have a little this day in Braves history. Good stuff right there. And I'm excited to have Bob Belvin, an OVC insider, as fall camp gets going underway across the South and college football getting going right there. So don't know where exactly Mo got started. Like I said, I apologize for the technical difficulties. I do not know. Mark, maybe you can tell me if he got into the rundown. I can go ahead and get that started if we want to with yesterday's results and today's schedule on the rundown if we haven't got there yet, Mark. So just let me know as we wait for Mo to rejoin us and get things going.
Yeah, we can start it.
This is the Rundown.
Major League Baseball yesterday. Calvin and I mentioned that the Braves were in progress for the most of the day yesterday, and they lost in extra innings to the Royals by a final score of 1-0. That kind of seems typical with how the Braves season has gone. When they pitch, they do not hit. And when they hit, they do not pitch. So the Braves lose the series out in Kansas City. They fall to the Royals 1-0 in extra innings. Wade's Astros won the series over the Washington Nationals 9-1. Astros big winners yesterday, win the series against the Nationals. And they're once again a team that's going to be looking to add here at the trade deadline. So we'll keep our ears pierced and perked to see what the Astros have got going on. In the W last night, the Indiana Fever picked up a 107-100 win over the Phoenix Mercury. The Atlanta Dream picked up an 88-85 win over the Dallas Wings. And the Minnesota Lynx, 100-93 victors over the New York Liberty. Tonight's schedule in Major League Baseball, really an abbreviated schedule. As I mentioned, the trade deadline going on, just 3 games in action across MLB today. One of them is the Atlanta Braves. They travel to Cincinnati to face the Cincinnati Reds at 6:10 p.m. It's the first pitch Central Time. That game can be found on the MLB Network and FanDuel South. Tonight, the Sounds will continue their series at Scranton Wilkes-Barre against the Rail Riders. Also tonight, football. The NFL is back. Mo and I will get into that here later in the show. It's the annual Hall of Fame game going on in Canton, Ohio. It's the Los Angeles Chargers making the trip over to face the Detroit Lions. That is a 7 p.m. kickoff tonight out in Ohio. That game can be found on NBC and Peacock. And then finally, just one game in the W tonight. It's the Golden State Valkyries making the trip across the country to face the Washington Mystics. That's going to be a 6:30 first tip on Prime Video. So that is yesterday's results and tonight's schedule on the rundown. Today's top story brought to you by the fine folks at Piggly Wiggly. Make sure I get the read here really quickly. Don't want to mess that up for those guys. Fortunate enough to eat there when I was in college. Really good stuff. They serve lunch daily from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. They offer hand-cut meats, and everything is cost plus 10% at the register. Piggly Wiggly, Neely's Meal in Columbia. Presenting you our top story and some news going around with the former players in the Association of Basketball League. Marcus Morris, ex-Cavs player, former Kansas Jayhawk, has been released by the authorities after being arrested this past week on fraud charges in Florida. Morris, 35 years old, was arrested at a Fort Lauderdale Holiday International Airport in Broward. Charge of fraud, insufficient checks related to outstanding markers in Nevada. Morris owed $265,000 or 2 different markers, one for $150,000 and another for $115,000 to 2 casinos in the Las Vegas area, according to DMZ Sports. Warrants were issued for his arrest earlier this year after he was accused of drawing or passing a check for $1,200 or more with the intent to defraud and theft valued at $100,000 or more. On Wednesday, he shared a statement on social media indicating that he was back home and had repaid his casino markers. He said, "Thank God I woke up in my bed this morning." He wrote an Instagram post. The word fraud was thrown around in my name as if I took something or really wrote a check to a casino in exchange for cash. Did I take out a marker to gamble? Yes. Well, was this my first time? No. He later said, "Money paid back and lesson learned. Fraud I can't live with, but I'm not going on every social media site to clear everything up," he added. So Morris is set to appear in court on August 6th, according to the Los Angeles Times. Other news, we mentioned multiple NBA players, former NBA players, got their names in the headlines this week. Gilbert Arenas, another kind of gambling issue here. This is coming from Yahoo Sports. Former Washington Wizards star and three-time NBA All-Star Gilbert Arenas was arrested on Wednesday on suspicion of running an illegal high-stakes poker game out of his mansion. The U.S. Attorney's Office announced Arenas, 43, was charged with one count of conspiracy to operate an illegal gambling business, one count of operating an illegal gambling business, and one of making false statements to investigators. He was one of 6 men to be arrested in connection with the running of the illegal high-stakes poker game. He's also accused of renting out his mansion in California for the purpose of hosting said games. So per indictment, authorities claim Arenas denied being involved with the parties in question. But this is something that we definitely want to monitor moving forward. So Arenas spent 11 seasons in the NBA and was taken by the Golden State Warriors in the second round of 2001 draft. Nicknamed Agent Zero, he averaged 27.7 points and 5.7 assists over 3 seasons from 2004 to 2006. So 2 guys who built out and carved out careers in the association, the WNBA, or excuse me, the NBA, in the news this week. Like I said, looking forward to a good show here. Hopefully Mo can join us here a little bit as we plan to go to the break here just shortly. On the other side of the break, we're going to talk with Mo. MTSU opened up their new athletic facility and performance center this week. I know Mo has some video on that end that he's excited to share. So stick around with us here on Main Street Sports Today. Looking forward to talking to you guys here in a little bit on a Throwback Thursday.
Closer. All new Sportsbook, the latest gaming machines, live horse racing, and more. The Mid Gaming Hall, Kentucky Downs. Winning just got closer.
Deep in a forest at Nashville Zoo, new creatures here for you to view. Phantoms graced in black and white swing high in trees of dappled light. In rocky crags, tall and steep, small antelopes with nimble feet. A wise old man with beard of white, a sentry perched on stony height. Amidst it all, a hunter lies, with coat of gold and steely eyes. A new adventure just for you. Leopard Forest at Nashville Zoo. Open now.
Busy bee, yeah, busy bee. If you need...
Hold on, y'all, hold on. I need to make a call. Hey, this is Brianna with Busy Bee. I'm giving you a call to let you know your technician is on his way.
333.
Busy bee. Guys, not yet. Not yet.
Busy bee, oh,
Now I'm ready,
bee.
guys.
Call 775-7833.
Custom Stone Handlers supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with Riverstone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe the measure of any person or company is how you treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStoneHandlers.com.
Hey, let's go Stros.
People are amazed at the variety and quality of guests we bring into Main Street Sports today. But when you've been in this business for nearly 40 years and you never throw away a phone number, it's pretty easy. Right, Wade?
Absolutely. And Wynn agrees with me. Check out some of our guests featured on Main Street Sports today.
Step back and catch my breath. But I expect nothing less from you, big boy. Let's get going.
We make it work pretty good. So
the fans are tremendous. It's fantastic.
It was really amazing.
Come up.
Yeah.
From preps to pros, you never know who's going to stop by, so be sure to listen to and watch Main Street Sports today from 2 to 4 p.m. daily on the MSM TV app.
Welcome back in, everybody. It's Throwback Thursday here on Main Street Sports Today. I'm David Wilson. Looking forward to having Maurice Patton join us here very shortly. He's battling some difficulties in our studio in Columbia. Really excited about today's show. We mentioned going into the break, Throwback Thursday. We're going to have a segment coming up here at 3 o'clock with Jeff Murphy, a segment we taped about a couple weeks ago, 20-minute long, that we're going to really enjoy and get have you guys listening on that. Also looking forward to having Bob Melvin, the OVC insider, coming up here at 3:20. Talk a little college football as fall camp begins across the college football landscape. Let him give us a preview of the OVC and the Big South preview. This is normally our segment on Thursdays where we kind of get into Coach's Corner, talk to some coaches both from the preps to the pros, but it's been a big week here in the Mid-State, and a big week in particular for Mo's alma mater, that is Middle Tennessee State University and the Blue Raiders. They opened up a brand new facility yesterday, cut the ribbon on the Stephen and Denise Smith Athletic Performance Center, a transformational $66 million, 85,000 square foot facility that will reshape the future of Blue Raider athletics and elevate the experience of its student athletes. It's located right at the north end of the football stadium, Floyd Stadium. This new facility serves as a new permanent home, not only for MTSU football, but a centralized hub for its performance, preparation, recovery, and every aspect of a student athlete's journey for MTSU's 17 teams. In a statement from MTSU President Dr. Sydney McPhee, she said, "This facility is a testament to the wide-ranging success of our men's and women's athletic teams and to the remarkable community support we have here at MTSU. It is also a fitting tribute to the many contributions of Steve and Denise Smith to the betterment of our university and the growth of our athletics program." One of the spaces in the building is the Kevin Byer Strength and Conditioning Center, obviously named in the honor of the former MTSU safety and former Titan safety as well, who's been a Pro Bowler in the National Football League. Mark, I know that you have a video that we probably shot yesterday that you're ready to show, so I'm sure everybody's dying to see this new facility if they have not seen their eyes on it on the ribbon cut. So Mark, feel free to go ahead and roll that video.
Okay, the video is just 4 interviews that I have.
Okay.
Is that good? Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
TSU President Dr. Sydney McPhee with us here on Main Street Sports today as we unveil the Stephen and Denise Smith Student Athlete Performance Center. Dr. McPhee, thanks for taking some time with us.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Got to be a lot of pride involved with today.
Really tremendous amount of pride, particularly for our student athletes and also for our fans. This has been, in the works for a number of years. And actually to see a dream come true in this fashion, it's a facility that would compete with any in the country, and that's not an exaggeration.
You know, and you mentioned two of the points that you just made. You mentioned during your presentation out here in the heat. It goes over a little better here in this air conditioning, but you talked about this being an aspirational dream at one point.
Yes.
It was an aspirational dream. Did you ever see it actually come into fruition?
I really did. Now, I must say at the beginning, when we heard the price tag, you know, I thought, wow. But, you know, the more we worked and put the plan together, even before we actually reached the goal, I was very, very optimistic that we were going to be able to accomplish this. And then it got to a point where I knew this was going to be done. And the design that was put in front of me, I thought, we must get this done to take our program to the next level. And I'd like to make this point that the athletic program has been really successful over the years with, I would say, facilities that really didn't match what most successful athletic programs. So just think now with this facility for student athletes, prospective student athletes, what that really means. And I also believe that the reason why Coach Mason has recruited the #1 recruiting class in Conference USA was because of this facility, because as we were building it, you know, he brought prospective students and their parents, athlete students, to the campus, and they looked at the building, they saw the design, and now in reality, it is here. So great things ahead for Blue Ray Athletics.
You know, folks mentioned during the presentation outside that, you know, you've been able to be competitive in Conference USA with the facilities that you had. To your point, this raises the stakes a little bit.
It does, and particularly in this new landscape in NC Division I and NCAA athletics, where the competition is even more fierce with NIL and transfer portal. You've got to be on top of your game. And I think this really will help us to take that next step on a national scale. Now, we've won a couple of national championships already, but just think what the future holds.
To see the kind of turnout that you had on, as Chris Massaro said, probably the hottest day of the year to this point, what does that say for this athletic program, for this fan base, the whole 9 yards?
It says the community believes in MTSU. It says that people are ready for the university to take that next step. Now we need to deliver. You know, I think Chairman Smith said that this was one of the first sellouts in a long time we've had. And it really reflected, I think, positively on the excitement that people have about MTSU. And we've been seeing it growing over the years. Look at our women's basketball program, and you know, top 10 in attendance in the country. And so I was really, really thrilled to see more than the standing room crowd for one of the hottest days of the year to help us unveil and do the ribbon cutting of this facility.
Great. Dr. Sidney McPhee, President of Middle Tennessee State University, joining us here on Main Street Sports today. Prez, Doc, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. As always, appreciate your support.
Thank you.
All right.
Athletics Director Chris Massaro of MTSU here at the ribbon cutting for the, as you can see in the background, the Stephen and Denise Smith Student Athlete Performance Center. Pretty easy to get it right when it's right behind you, Chris, but congratulations, man. I know this is the culmination of a lot of work by a lot of people. Just speak to the pride in actually getting this thing across the finish line.
Yeah, and it's just a symbol, Maurice, that we believe in our student athletes and we want to provide the very best for them. That's what we tell them every time they come. And this is a physical testament that we believe in them and we're going to develop them to the best of their abilities. So when they come to MTSU, they know they're going to have nutrition, strength and conditioning, rehab and recovery, all the things that for all of our student athletes. And also now football has its own home. We're moving them out of the Murphy Center, putting them in this building. So no longer does our football team have their locker room in a basketball arena. So they'll have their own facility as well.
And so when we've discussed this in our weekly visits with Chip Walters and with different folks like this is going to kind of have a trickle-down effect because you're getting football out of the Murphy Center, which is going to open up some other space for some of your other programs in Murphy Center.
Yeah, and particularly where the football locker room is, we're going to dedicate that to men's basketball, so it's going to help it. We're ready for phase 2 on the Murphy Center to start it as well. So it's going to help all of our sports. There is a trickle-down effect, and there's an immediate impact as well. So I'm excited the next 3-4 years to watch it all come together.
Been a long time coming.
Yeah, it has. You know, you start thinking about it, and we hired our master for the architects to do our master plan about 10 years ago. And so it took them 1.5 years or something to develop a facilities master plan. And that's been our blueprint that we've operated off of. And then jump into fundraising and those kind of things and getting it off the ground. And, you know, COVID was a little bit of a delay in there as well. People kind of forget about that. But I think that it turned out great because there was a lot of time and thought put into it. So there were no shortcuts.
You know, from Build Back Blue starting in what, 21 though?
Yeah.
I mean, so it's been a 4-year process of actually putting things on the ground and getting things going.
Yeah.
You got to be pleased with that, I would think.
Yeah, I'm so pleased with it. And, you know, and this building, is the contractor and the architects really took it to life. And they believed in the importance of the project and what it was to MTSU. And you could tell they poured extra into this thing. And you can see it all over our building. So I'm just really proud. It was a team effort, not only internal to MTSU, but our contractors and design teams as well. So it's been great.
You mentioned how hot it was, upwards of 80 degrees out here. To get the turnout that y'all got for this,
it was amazing.
What was it like when you looked out and saw it?
It was really, you know, and you just believe in your community. And today was another testimony of that. It was great, and I love seeing our student athletes there as well. But I really like the student athletes to see how many fans were there, so they could feel that support and what this building means to everybody that's involved with the Blue Raiders.
MTSU Athletics Director Chris Massaro with us here on Main Street Sports today. Chris, we appreciate it. Thanks.
Thanks, Maurice. Appreciate you being here, my man.
Well,
a proud grad.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're happy to have you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, man.
Middle Tennessee State University graduate Mike Terry, who was involved with the fundraising efforts that brought about the Stephen and Denise Smith Student Athlete Performance Center, here with us on Main Street Sports today. Also, heck of a softball player back in the day when he and I played together. But Mike, thanks for taking some time with me this afternoon. I know you got to be proud, one, of getting this thing across the finish line, and two, the gathering that was here for this today.
Yes, it's very exciting to see everyone come out to participate in this today. Just from the beginning, when they reached out and asked me to participate just in the fundraising effort, we picked up an enormous sense of momentum because people were excited to donate to this cause, just because this is a next level facility. And so everyone who is an MTSU fan of athletics wants to see the program at the next level. And this is a key component just for all sporting events to go to the next level.
You know, and we're sitting here in the football locker room, obviously, but this is not a football specific project by any stretch.
That's correct. I mean, this is going to help out all athletes across the board and raise their opportunities to succeed. And therefore, it's going to lift up the whole university. So this is great for the campus and great for the city of Murfreesboro as the excitement builds for this year's athletic programs.
You know, MTSU has long been competitive athletically, despite the lack of something like this. You feel like this is going to take it to the next level?
Yes. I mean, with the state of college sports these days, you have got to expand and grow, and this was just a key component to see that. So this will help with recruiting, not just for football, but just for all these sports that we're talking about. And it's just going to help Middle take the program to the next level, as I keep saying.
Again, a lot of excitement, and look no further than the group that we had out there listening to the 45-minute presentation in this heat?
Yes, I mean, overflow crowd in 100-degree heat just demonstrates the true excitement and momentum for this facility and for the sporting programs.
Mike Terry, MTSU graduate, joining us here on Main Street Sports today. Mike, I appreciate it.
Glad to be here.
Thank you, sir. Visiting with freshman defensive tackle Jaden Owens from Beach here on Main Street Sports today as we look around the football locker room here at the Stephen and Denise Smith Student Athlete Performance Center. Jaden, thanks for taking a couple of minutes with me. And I know you're a freshman, but this is all you know. But what do you think about this?
I mean, I love the locker room. It's my first time having my name on a locker, really, so it just means so much more. Better than the other locker room, for sure, that we had. It's maybe 100 times better. I haven't even seen all the facilities here, but I can't wait to just explore and enjoy it and enjoy fall camp here, everything.
And it's not just a locker room. I mean, as folks have said over the course of rolling this out, it's everything. You know, it's strength and conditioning, it's recovery, it's nutrition. It's kind of a one-stop shop for you athletes. I mean, what's the significance of being able to go in one building and get everything you need?
It's so much more convenient than just having to maybe walk down the hallway. Instead here, you're going just through a door and you have the training room, everything you need, nutrition, so you can get your protein, everything you need it's all here. Maybe up a couple flights of stairs, but you take an elevator and you're there.
How significant was this facility in your recruitment process?
Oh, 100%. Knowing there would be a new building here, my freshman year, it's just, I got to come here. It's a place to be.
Top notch. Who was that?
Jonathan Waller.
Jonathan
Waller.
Waller?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Freshman teammate?
Absolutely.
There we go. How do you feel like this elevates MTSU just, particularly in this climate with NIL, with transfer portal, with recruiting, that kind of thing?
It's just going to make it so much better for players to just want to come here and just enjoy this and live this and be able to be a part of the culture here of being a Blue Raider. It just makes it all much more the better. And to compete for something, man, competing for a title and going to a bowl, it just makes it so much worth more fighting for.
Jaden Owens, Beach freshman here at MTSU, joining us on Main Street Sports today. Jaden, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Well, I think I'm back. Dave, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're back.
Awesome. That's good to be here.
You scared me for sure.
Well,
it was a lonely feeling.
I scared me as well, man. And the thought of you having to do that for 2 hours by yourself wasn't exactly appealing. So I'm glad I was able to get something figured out, but glad to be here on this Throwback Thursday. Glad I was able to get over to MTSU yesterday and get some video of the brand spanking new Stephen and Denise Smith Student Athlete Performance Center over on the campus of MTSU. It was some great stuff, and we've got some more B-roll as well, as if Mark can kind of take us through it. The Kevin Byard Strength and Conditioning Center is something that Derek Mason and the folks are particularly proud of, and understandably so. It's vast. I mean, I think they said that they can get the entire team in there to work out at one time, which is pretty impressive. I did not ask specifically if that was factual, but I thought I heard somebody say that, and like I said, it's huge. So they did a really good job in terms of recognizing a lot of people with this facility, as well as obviously making it a very functional building for all of the athletes at Middle Tennessee State. And so really nice job that they did there. It's been a long time coming, as everybody mentioned, but it kind of feels like now that it's here, it's really worth it. And as everybody that spoke yesterday, from Abby Lee, the standout golfer for the Lady Raiders program, to Stephen Smith and everybody in between, there was basically kind of there's no excuses at this point, because one of the things that have kind of been said about MTSU was, well, we don't have the facilities that everybody else has. Well, you've got facilities that a lot of folks are saying are tops in Conference USA. You're looking at the Players Lounge right there, the football Players Lounge. They've got a couple of pool tables, some seating that they can, sit down at and take some notes, or sit down at and
I saw
what
two
watch
TVs that had video
exactly.
games, so that is the
And
important thing.
yeah, and recognizing some of the past teams, the bowl teams that they've had, and a lot of space to just kind of chill out a little bit. And David, as a former collegiate athlete, you can speak to the importance of just being able to chill out sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, you spend so much time with these guys, your teammates, throughout the course of the year, and sometimes you just want a place to hang out, a place to watch TV, a place to play pool. I'm a spades guy. I like to play cards, playing video games. So it's nice to be able to have these facilities in your building that can not only attract recruits, but it makes them feel at home, right? It makes them want to be around each other and be in the facility. And there's so much good and camaraderie that comes from that. So when I introduced this segment, Mo, before you hopped in, I said Mo's not just an alum today; he's a proud alum of MTSU, because this has been kind of, as Chris Massaro said, a long time coming, not only for that university and those student athletes, but that community as well. So I know
Absolutely.
Murfreesboro is definitely shining and happy this week.
I think you're right. That's the team room there that we've talked to Chip about from time to time, and the big boy chairs, and so of course I had to sit down in one, and yeah, it's quite comfortable. I could fall asleep in there. Hopefully they won't, but yeah, they can accommodate the entire team in there if Coach Mason wants to call them up, or if they want to do some film study as a team, or however they've got the screens there to do that. So it really felt like walking through the facility yesterday that they really got all the T's crossed and all the I's dotted. I'm interested to maybe speak to some folks here in the next bit to just see if here over the last few days they've come across anything where they said, man, I wish we'd have done this. Because it just seems like it feels like they got it all right. This is the top level of the SAPC. This is the SRM level that Chip has talked to us about at various times on the show. Chip Walters, the Blue Raider voice. This is where they can do a lot of hosting of various events and functions and that kind of thing. And it looks right out onto Floyd Stadium, as you can see there. And so I'm sure it'll be popping on game day. They've got a couple of bar areas. They'll have food in there on game days, but they can also accommodate various events and that type thing. So, I mean, it's just, it's a fantastic facility. I think everybody involved with it has got to be proud of it. And like you said, David, I think it's a great thing, not just for Middle Tennessee State, but for Murfreesboro and the community there. I mean, this is, as good as it gets. Having talked to some other people who have a little bit more knowledge of Conference USA in particular than I do, this is about as good as it gets in that conference. And it really just kind of elevates the game, the stakes for MTSU athletics. So it's great that they were able to get that done.
Really quickly, I mentioned this. I don't know if you were on that Tuesday. I joined with Chip Walters for his weekly segment, but I asked the question, why is Derek Mason so notorious of wanting to keep mid-state talent in the mid-state and go to MTSU? And facilities like this and buildings like this, it draws more people and more eyes to your program. More young kids are going to start coming to Floyd Stadium and seeing the campus on Murfreesboro, and they're going to want to be a part of that. So that's just another layer in the fabric of trying to keep kids in the mid-state, keep them home. And that's really important to Derek Mason. We talked about that with his time over at Vanderbilt, and he's continued that here at MTSU, building that footprint in the mid-state and having relationships. So kudos to the MTSU staff for getting everything and all the architects really to get that done, who weathered the heat. Obviously, it's brutal this week. So they weathered some storms to get it done.
Absolutely. It's just fantastic piece of what's going on over there. And this is phase one. Phase two is next. They'll be going into Murphy Center and making some upgrades and some changes in there as well. So A lot going on at MTSU. Pretty exciting time here. Let's take a break on Throwback Thursday here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. When we come back, we'll talk a little baseball. It is the trade deadline coming up in minutes, I think, officially.
Yeah, a couple hours. Couple hours.
Is it an hour? I think maybe
6 p.m. Eastern time.
Is it that late? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll talk
The
about.
Braves have time. Make some moves, Make some moves.
We'll talk about some of the moves that have been made. Later in the show, we're going to throw it back to a recent conversation we had with Jeff Murphy of Group of Five Guys. We'll also visit with Bob Belvin, talk a little Ohio Valley Conference and Big South football as we get our college football preview started here on Main Street Sports Today. So stick around for all of that and more when we come back after this break.
If you want the latest in weather conditions, be sure to tune in to our Busy Bee Plumbing Weather Report each weekday on Mornings on Main Street. Brought to you, of course, by Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating and Air Conditioning. We will keep you updated on the latest conditions outside, like severe weather, heat, snow, rain, and even hail.
Zion Christian Academy at zioneagles.org or 931-388-7531. You can schedule your appointment to visit their beautiful campus. Again, zioneagles.org or 931-7531 to schedule your visit today.
They walk among us, but at 240 miles per hour, they become something more. They're thrill seekers, risk takers, and maybe just a little bit unhinged. Buckle up. This new era of speed, this racing revolution, it's just getting started.
July 31st, 2003, with his scoreless ninth inning, during which he retired Jeff Bagwell, Jeff Kent, and Richard Hidalgo on just 4 total pitches, John Smoltz earned his 40th save of the year as the Braves defeated visiting Houston 7-4. Smoltz became the quickest to 40 saves in MLB history, reaching the mark in Atlanta's 108th game and doing so a week earlier than he did the previous year to establish the previous mark. Smoltz preserved the victory for Shane Reynolds, who allowed 4 runs in 7 innings against the team with which he had spent the previous 11 seasons. That was this day in Braves history. Good times those were. When you've got a closer who could get 40 saves by the end of July. To put that in perspective, the Braves have 45 total wins this year.
So Calvin and I were taking bets yesterday. Did you watch yesterday's show, or were you off on a beach somewhere?
I was not off on a beach, but I mean, I was in Murfreesboro most of the day. I was trying to keep up with the game as best I could, and I mean, I felt so bad for Joey Wentz. I mean, you throw 6 2/3 shutout. 7 strikeouts. I mean, I don't know what more you could ask for a guy who 3 weeks ago wasn't even on your roster.
Right.
It's tough. Kansas City won, Atlanta nothing in 10, and as soon as it went to extra innings, you knew the Braves weren't going to win. And sure enough, Salvador Perez with a single to lead off the 10th drives in the ghost runner from second base with the game winner. After the Braves were unable to capitalize on first and third, no out in the top of the 10th. Braves were 1 for 11 with runners in scoring position yesterday. 5 total hits.
I said yesterday, doing this day in Braves history, this is only good things we've had all year. And the key word that happens in these Braves today is win. That's not a word we've been hearing a lot this year. It's a lot of pain.
Not heard it a whole lot at all. Again, lost 1-0 to Kansas City, lost the series out there. Royals improved to 54-55. Heather Williams is happy. And, I don't much mind Heather being happy. She's a good person. So, I mean, if that's good.
I feel bad for her having to watch the Braves this weekend.
Only once.
They're rough covered. No Acuna. I'm like, who do you? I guess she gets lucky. She gets Strider versus Burns, which is really
that's going to be a heck of a matchup. I mean, if you are going to put a marquee game out there, that's a pretty good one. And as I saw promoted, a couple of Tennessee boys. Spencer Strider playing his high school ball at CAK, and Chase Burns being from Sumner County, and that's a pretty nice matchup up there in Bristol, and it's a 1-game thing, so you're only exposed to the Braves for 9 innings, so that's a good thing. You get to see Ellie De La Cruz.
That's plenty. Yeah, 3 hours is plenty. That's enough. That's
these days. Yeah. Some good. We
did
get
pick up the phone. Pick up the phone. Make some moves.
Somebody's calling. Absolutely. Not that it matters because the Braves fell to 45-62 with that loss, but Ronald Acuna Jr. only has a calf strain, a grade 1 calf strain, which is the least severe, but it is a calf strain, but it's not his Achilles. So now,
but those things lead to that.
Do I even want to see him play again this year? I don't care if he does or not at this point. It's not like we're going to win anything. I sent Mr. Wilson a text yesterday. Get MH2 right, get Ozzy right, get Drake National League Rookie of the Year, and other than that, whatever happens, happens.
And I don't think that latter one is going to happen because I think that everybody's fell in love with the Miz here from Nashville that is now a Milwaukee Brewer. Everybody loves Mr. Rowski.
And everybody loves Velo, man, and I get that. But, I think at some point it's got to come back to who's done it for the length of the season, doesn't it? I don't know. We'll see. You're probably right.
And to speak on Ronald really quickly before we move on, I understand Ronald's thought process of he wants to play, right? He's missed so much time over the course of his career, so many games missed with injury that he feels like obviously he's let his team down and it hurt his team. I mean, remember, the Braves won the World Series in 2021 and Ronald was not a part of that. Now, there are some members of Braves media, somebody who gets on TV that says that the Braves could survive without Ronald. I don't know whoever believes that, but that is not the case. He's the most important player of this franchise. So getting him healthy long-term is what's best for this team. So I agree with you. I wouldn't play him. I wouldn't play Sale. I wouldn't play Schwellenbach. The risk is not worth the reward. I do think as we transition to this trade chatter and we talk about Montero getting moved here, the Braves make some moves with the seller's market that it is.
They've got some folks. I mean, I wouldn't have necessarily thought that Montero was necessarily tradable, but maybe somebody sees something in him that the Braves haven't been able to unlock. Maybe De Los Santos is another guy, I mean, you get enough arms and you figure out who can help you and who can't. And that just hasn't necessarily worked for Atlanta this year. Nothing's really worked this year, unfortunately. It's just been one of those years. I walked into the bank earlier today with some Braves paraphernalia on, and another guy was just saying, man, everybody's been hurt. Like, yeah, everybody's been hurt, and the hitters all slumped at the same time, and it's just been a tough go all the way around for Atlanta. Again, the opening day starting rotation, all 5 of them are currently on the IL, and that's not an excuse. That's a fact. So tough sledding for the Braves. 55 games to play, though. So we
got some trades to break down and to report.
Well, let's Houston with a 9-1 win over Washington yesterday. Let's keep Wade in mind.
Wade doesn't matter. He don't matter. He don't matter.
His Astros got 2 of 3 from the Nationals. Jose Altuve with a 3-run homer among his 4-for-4 day yesterday. So the Astros improved to 62-47, 15 games over 500 with that win over Washington. What is next for the Astros? They are off today. They resume play in Boston tomorrow. They will be seeing former Astro Alex Bregman at Fenway. So keep an eye on that. Oh, by the way, Atlanta and Cincinnati open their series at the Great American Small Park tonight at 6:10. The Reds 57-52 again. Atlanta 45-62. Carlos Carrasco will make his Braves debut. He is 2-2 with a 5.91 earned run average. That work done with the Yankees. Andrew Abbott 8-1 with a 2.09 ERA, getting the start for Cincinnati. Okay. Now, the moment David has been waiting for. Let's get to some trades. Couple of guys with local ties moving, as former Loretto High School standout Blade Tidwell, also former UT standout Blade Tidwell, and former UT standout Drew Gilbert, both headed west as the Mets packaged them in a deal. Both were at their AAA affiliate in Syracuse. Both sent to the San Francisco Giants organization in exchange for Giant starter Tyler Rogers. So some local guys moving. And I'm always kind of fascinated when these trade deadline moves get made is, whether or not we see any folks with local ties get caught up in this. So, yeah, Blade Tidwell, I guess a lot of Loretto folks will be Giants fans now instead of Mets fans.
So they'll have to stay up a little later to watch him play.
Yeah, should he get up? It'll be interesting to see where he winds up as a result of this move. He's come up on a couple of occasions and pitched with the Mets this year, but for the most part, he's been at the AAA level. Tyler Rogers on the move. Twin brother Taylor Rogers on the move as well, as Cincinnati sent him to Pittsburgh for veteran third baseman Ke'Bryan Hayes. So
those intra-division trades are always fascinating to me. You got to think about it. Pittsburgh had extended him, and he's under team control for several years at a reasonable rate, right, for a third baseman. He's probably not performed offensively the way that you do, but that's very interesting that they trade him and keep him in the National League Central. I guess that's a good pickup for the Reds. Obviously, they swing and miss on the Eugenio Suarez reunion, but he's a great defensive third baseman. So we'll see if the offense can catch up, but who wouldn't like to hit, as you mentioned, in Great American Small Park?
No doubt. Yeah, hopefully that will unlock something for the son of former Major Leaguer Charlie Hayes. I think when Pittsburgh extended to him, they expected a lot more, and he hasn't quite, for whatever reason, played up to those expectations. And, sometimes you see somebody change teams. They'll get with a different hitting instructor or pitching instructor or what have you, or just get more comfortable in some new surroundings. And maybe that's what Ke'Bryan will need. And hopefully that'll pay off for him. Mets and Phillies at the top of the NL East, both of them made some moves to shore up their bullpens. Philadelphia first picking up John Duran from the Twins, and the Mets countering by getting Ryan Helsley from the Cardinals. So getting some high velo guys, both the Mets and the Phillies. I'm intrigued because the Mets still have Diaz.
It's nasty.
Yeah. So
We got Stanek down there. There's some good arms.
Yeah, it's nothing we have to be worried about. But yeah, should be interesting.
You can rack up the losses for us. We're in the race for the number 1 pick. That's what we're looking forward to.
Goodness gracious.
How the mighty have fallen.
4th worst record in baseball. Man. It's just stunning. Meanwhile, the Seattle Diamondbacks continue. After getting Josh Naylor from Arizona last week, they bring third baseman Eugenio Suarez back to the Pacific Northwest. So they have suddenly kind of beefed up on the offensive side with Naylor and Suarez, and the major league leader in homers in Cal Raleigh. Good luck pitching to this bunch all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we've had a flurry of trades today. Obviously, I guess the headliner is A's closer Mason Miller getting traded, staying in the state of California, going to San Diego Padres along with left-handed starter J.P. Sears. AJ Preller, he's a wheeler and dealer down there in San Diego. Gives up, I believe, 4 of his top 15 prospects to get Sears and a closer. So AJ Preller, I sent you a tweet of all the players that he's traded during his time. It's wild. You can almost have an all-star team of that, of his own, of prospects that have turned out. Detroit's in the news. They traded for Washington Nationals closer Cal Finnegan. Just now, Cedric Mullins got traded from the Orioles to the New York Mets. So we got some wheeling and dealing. The Dodgers are finally awoken. It seems like they've always been in the news this day throughout the years. They get right-handed reliever Brock Stewart. So, and then the Yankees, who their bullpen has been absolutely dreadful in July. They get Pirates closer David Bednar. So the bullpen arms race is going. The phone is ringing, and like I said, Mo and I are hopeful that the Braves find a way to trade one of at least the 3 or 4 relievers that they have that could probably garner a prospect return or 2.
Get something, because I mean, you got to get something out of this year. Meanwhile, Toronto traded for Cleveland starter Shane Bieber as well earlier today, so on his way back. So Toronto excited to kind of shore up its starting rotation as well. Yeah, a lot going on. The smoke isn't all going to clear before we get off the show, so we will revisit a lot of this tomorrow as well. But yeah, there are a lot of trades kind of in the works but not finalized just yet, so we will try to keep you up on those as we go here on Main Street Sports today. Let's take a break. It is Throwback Thursday. When we come back, we're going to throw it back to a recent conversation that we had with Jeff Murphy of Group of 5 Guys, talking a little G5 football. Stick around. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy at zioneagles.org or 931-388-7531. You can schedule your appointment to visit their beautiful campus. Again, zioneagles.org or 931-7531 to schedule your visit today. Custom Stone Handlers supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with Riverstone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe the measure of any person or company is how you treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStoneHandlers.com.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Now, from Group of Five Guys, former Middle Tennessee State quarterback, sporting the lid, I like it, Jeff Murphy joining us here. Jeff, good afternoon, man. Thanks for taking some time.
Hey, appreciate you having me on. Good to see you guys.
Yes, sir.
You as well, man. It's getting close, I guess. What's your take on the Blue Raiders in year 2 of the Derek Mason era?
I'm actually really high on the Blue Raiders this year, and mainly because this is probably the best schedule draw we've had in over a decade. Returning a lot of senior leadership, obviously Nick Vadiato at the quarterback position. Lose Amari Kelly to Michigan State last year, our top receiver. But I think this receiver room that we have right now, pieces we've got in the portal with some returning guys, might be the deepest room we've had in a long time. Obviously, the offensive defensive line's always the question mark for the Blue Raiders. It has been for the last several years. But I can say just after seeing them in a few different occasions, we're bigger than we've been up front on the offensive line, which is a good sign. Doesn't mean that's going to solve all the problems that we've had, but I think we're going to be more physical at the point of attack, so that should help the run game. And if the run game can be at least like remotely effective, then that's going to help Nick Vadiato get the ball to those great receivers on the outside. So I'm high for a couple of reasons, but honestly, mainly because of the way our schedule sets up.
Schedule sets up nice, and you also any quarterback or former quarterback likes to see the beef up front, I would imagine, no doubt, Jeff. But does Nick Vadiato officially fall into how is this guy still in school territory? Because he has been such a great standout for MTSU, and if you're an opponent, he falls in that category. But if you're a guy that obviously he's QB into your team, it feels like you have an absolute ace in the hole right now.
Absolutely. I mean, you're talking about one of the top guys in conference and honestly has been one of the most successful quarterbacks in Conference USA without much help up front the last few years, to be honest. So if we can get this guy, protect him a little bit, and your best friend is a run game, and we just has not been able to run the ball the last couple of years. The O-line got injured early last year, and that's what I love about this schedule is you open up with Austin Peay at home, then you get a very manageable, I'm not going to say we're going to go up to Wisconsin and win, but it's not like where in years past we've had Alabama and Michigan in the same year or just, two just physically different teams where you're going to get beat up before you even get into conference. So you go up and play Wisconsin, then you get Nevada on the road, who's a better team, but that's a very winnable game for us. And then we get Marshall back at home for homecoming. And Marshall literally lost everybody. They lost their coaches, all their top players from a year ago, all went to Southern Miss. So Marshall's going to be good. We interviewed Tony Gibson a few months ago. I think he's going to be physical at the point of attack, but you're just replacing so much there. So, and then you get into conference, and then you play, the two newcomers in Missouri State and Delaware, which I think they're going to be good programs. But usually you see a 1 or 2 year, adjustment period there. You have Kennesaw State,
unless you're James Madison.
Well, that's the special case. And when we scheduled them a few years ago, when Missouri dropped out on us, I was like, this is not good. This is not a good situation. It was like their home opener going up to the next level, and they just had everything to play for that year. But yeah, and then we avoid Liberty and La Tech, who I think are going to be the two pretty good teams in the conference. So I think our schedule is just like I said, it sets up really nice for us.
Jeff, talk a little bit more about that run game, man, because folks who have been around MTSU football for an extended period of time just feel like running the football is what we do. And that has not been the case, and it's been conspicuous in its absence over the last few years.
Yeah, I mean, it's so important to an offense. You can't be one-dimensional, whether you can just run or you can just throw it. You've got to be able to do both and do both effectively. And we just, our offensive line has struggled the last couple of years. We've had a lot of injuries as well. So coming into Derek Mason's second year, I'm excited, like I said, to see the size and beef up front. If we can get 5 guys that can mesh together and really get a push at the point of attack, because there was points last year where you're getting a 5-man box. It's our 5 linemen versus 5 guys in the box, and we couldn't run the ball. If you can't run the ball against a 5-man box, you have everybody else that can just sit back and play coverage. And I don't care how good your receivers are or Nick Vadiato is, it's damn near impossible. And then they were still getting pressure with only rushing 4 guys. So I think the second year, with Mason and them coming in a little bit late last year, had to replace a whole lot of numbers on both sides of the ball and a lot, on the offensive defensive line. So I think the second year in this program, getting kind of their pieces in there, I think it's going to make all the difference in the world. And Jaquel Middlebrook, I mean, this kid's a stud now. He can take it to the house. He's a smaller back, but you just give him an inch of space. He can make guys miss. He can take the distance. And then we got some other guys behind him, and Ricky Hunt, and then I'm blanking on the freshman's man's name from Riverdale, but he's a good player too, and I think he's going to see with DJ, I believe his name is. We're going to see him, I think, early on in the season to see what he can do.
Sprint champ as well.
Absolutely, we got some guys that can go.
Jeff Murphy from Group of 5 Guys joining us here on Main Street Sports today. Jeff, you talked about that receiver room, and again, losing Omari Kelly to Michigan State, certainly not a great thing, but maybe you make up for that in some numbers, to your point from a minute ago.
Yeah, and obviously losing him hurts. He's one of the best receivers in the conference, but you get Miles Butler back, who was very successful last year. I think he's just going to make a big jump. He's not, he's a good, strong kid with great hands, run great routes. He's not going to take the top off by any means, but I think he's going to lead this group. And then you get Amarion Walker coming over from Michigan, 6'3". Now this kid can run. He can fly. He's going to be the guy, I think, that's going to take the vertical routes, push the defense back. And then you get Cameron Lacey, who's coming back again, real shifty. He can play inside, outside. Very great receiver. And then we got some other guys that we've got in the portal too, a couple JUCO kids that I'm excited about. Need some work, kind of raw talents, but if they can figure it out, I mean, Nick's going to have a lot of weapons to play with.
You mentioned Walker too. I mean, that's a two-way type player, Jeff, and it's a guy that came into Michigan with a just as much of a pedigree in terms of his track abilities. He was a triple jump phenom. To me, whatever he produces is whatever he produces, but just from a kind of a brand recognition standpoint and what he's kind of maybe going to bring to the table, you kind of got to be excited about that, I would imagine.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't really get too much into the stars, and it's great that he went to Michigan, but obviously that's a tough room to really get on the field. But yeah, I mean, just look at the guy's measurables right off the bat. When you got a guy that can run as fast as he can at 6'3", I mean, you got to respect the vertical threat. And that's what I think he's going to bring to the table. And then he just opens up everything else underneath for everybody else and the run game. So if you don't have a run game and you don't have somebody that can go vertical, everyone's literally just sitting like 20 yards and in, just keeping everything in front. They're not worried about anything going deep. So excited to see the speed. It looks like on both sides of the ball, we've really tried to get bigger, longer, and faster. Now, hopefully that all pays off. That's my old Oakland Raider, what they tried to do for years, and kind of excited to see it with the Blue Raiders.
Jeff, Derek Mason coming in here as a defensive first guy, had to be a little disappointed with the way that unit performed last year. How have they addressed some of their shortcomings?
Yeah, I mean, I think really getting size up front and on the back end is what defensive coordinator Brian Stewart wants. He wants to bring pressure and he wants to play man coverage on the back end. In order to do that, you got to have guys that can run. And then it just seems like, a lot of the corners are a lot taller than we've normally seen for Blue Raiders. So they addressed that in the portal. Now, whether those big guys can flip their hips and run, if you're going to play man coverage, which you have to be able to do, time will tell. We'll be able to see that early in the season because they'll get tested pretty quick. But it seems like from a size and length standpoint on defense, that's what they went out and got. Hopefully it transitioned, because last year they struggled. I mean, Western Kentucky came in, their starter got hurt, their backup, who was a great player now, but he threw it all over. I mean, we just struggled covering receivers. So it seems like they've addressed that in the portal. But again, with all these teams in Conference USA, there's so many new guys, so many guys from the portal, and not a ton of tape and stats on these guys. So it's kind of like you got to wait and see, and hopefully these guys work out.
It just felt like watching MTSU, particularly from a defensive standpoint last year. They struggled to get off the field. Third downs were not good for that unit. And I don't know necessarily how you improve on that, other than, as Chip Walters likes to say, be better on first and second down.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you can get teams into third and long, third and medium situations, as opposed to 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, that makes all the difference in the world. And then, you know, on the flip side, I mean, your offense helps defense, defense helps offense. So when you go 3 and out, and now your defense back on the field because you can't run the ball, and then you get in a 3rd and long situation on offense, those guys don't get a rest. It's not like we're, you know, all teams in the group of 5 struggle with depth at times. So if your defense is constantly out there, I mean, they're constantly getting gassed as well. It's just like this snowball effect that starts to happen throughout the game. So I think both sides of the ball will help each other as far as you know, defense getting more of a rest. But like you said, you got to be effective on first and second down to get those guys in 3rd and long, because then as an offensive coordinator standpoint, it just cuts your playbook down. There's only so many things you can do. If the defense can pin the ears back and rush with 4, now you can play 7 in coverage. It makes it a whole lot easier to guard the pass, as opposed to 3rd and 2. You literally have the entire playbook wide open.
Jeff, you kind of go through some things with MTSU, and obviously we're all, you know, alums and cheer for the Blue Raiders die hard here. But if those things kind of all seemingly the dots start connecting a little bit, what is the ceiling in your mind maybe for this team this year?
I mean, truthfully, the ceiling, I mean, obviously that's a lot to need to go right for us, right? But that's all things that I think are doable. And then the thing that, again, that helps us is the way our schedule sets up. So if you have an O-line that can block and be effective in the run game, if your defense in the back end can hold up, all those things can happen. We know Nick's smart. He's athletic. He can run around. He protects the ball very well. There's no reason why the Blue Raiders can't make, if everything works out, make the conference championship game. Again, you avoid Liberty, who, in my opinion, it's Liberty and Western's conference really to lose, in my opinion. So you avoid Liberty, you get Western Kentucky, finally 100 miles of hate towards the end of the season, and not first or second conference game, which makes a big difference. And then you avoid La Tech as well, and I think thee going to be a better team. So you avoid really the 1 and probably like 3 or 4 team on your schedule. So, I mean, there's no reason why you can't start the season off 3-1, you know, 4-1 potentially, and then roll in the conference. And, you know, your first conference opponents are, let me see here if I got it right in front of me. You got Kennesaw, Missouri, and Delaware.
Not a bad way to start, right?
Exactly. As opposed to, you know, when we beat Miami in Miami a few years ago, we started off with UTSA, number 1 in our conference, Western Kentucky, number 2 in our conference. So just, I don't know who did the schedule this year, but thank you.
we need to send them a card in the mail. Hey, real quick, Jeff, while we're talking schedule, and you mentioned the non-con earlier, yeah, obviously a chance to get off on a right foot versus Austin Peay. The Wisconsin game will get a lot of attention, but kind of as a football nut, that game against Nevada, I don't really know what happens or how that plays out, but that is one, even if I wasn't a Blue Raider fan, I feel like I'm going to be dialed in for. That just seems like it could be a really interesting game.
No, it really is. I mean, the travel's tough. You got to go up to Reno, right? So that's a far travel for your kids, but, you know, they lost their best player was their quarterback in Brandon Lewis. He goes to Memphis. So I'm not sure yet who they're going to return in that spot, but that kid was dynamic. So that plays in the Blue Raiders' favor as far as quarterbacks go. But yeah, it's a very interesting matchup. They're a program that's on the rise. They had a much better year last year. So excited to see that matchup. And then I love every time that Middle gets to play Marshall. We get to play Marshall at home. It's always a good game. And for some reason, I don't know why at home, we've just seemed to kind of have their number.
We would take that trend continuing. Jeff Murphy of Group of 5 Guys joining us here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Again, former quarterback at MTSU from 2010 to 2012. News came out yesterday, Jeff. One of your former teammates will be going into the MTSU Athletics Hall of Fame this fall. Kevin Byard. You again got to watch him at work. What are your thoughts on that? Other than it's a long time coming since they've already retired his number.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, it's a no-brainer, right? I mean, first ballot Hall of Famer. I think he went in with ease, and he deserves it. I mean, he's been such a great ambassador for MTSU, and then you just look at not only his college career, but his pro career. And he's been, outstanding citizen for, the Blue Raiders, alumni, supports the program, gives back to the program. So super happy for KB, deserves it. And hopefully maybe when we have that ceremony, I'll get to catch up with him and say hello.
There you go. You talked a little bit about what you think Conference USA looks like, and with Middle being able to avoid Liberty and La Tech. Expand that out a little bit more. What are your thoughts regarding the Group of Five as a whole heading into this 25 season?
Yeah, obviously last year the representative for the playoff was Boise State. I got to go to that Boise State Penn State game at the Fiesta Bowl, and man, it was such a great experience. And getting to be on the field, you always hear this notion that the Group of Five doesn't belong. Let me tell you, they went toe to toe with one of the best. Boise State did one of the best defenses in the country. And if it wasn't for a couple missed field goals, they're in that game late with all the momentum. So I think, again, Boise State's going to be up there. They return a ton of guys. Their starting quarterback, obviously they lose Heisman candidate Ashton Ginty, but let me tell you, they reloaded in the backfield again. Sire Gaines, that's a name you're going to have to keep an eye out for. They're good on the outside. Their defense is going to be loaded. Spencer Danielson's done a great job. I think James Madison's going to be one of the top teams in the Group of Five coming out of the Sun Belt. Again, returning a lot of firepower on both sides of the ball. And then I think Memphis's schedule sets up. They get the quarterback I mentioned from Nevada coming over. He's a dynamic player, dual threat type of kid. If he can get in that system and they can get rolling, there's no reason why they, if they go, win the American with 1 or 2 losses. I mean, that's what it's going to come down to, them and probably Boise State or James Madison, in my opinion. But you never know. It's college football. Anything can happen.
Yeah, Jeff, I was going to ask you, we obviously got captivated by Army last year, and in a service academy environment, it feels like every 4th or 5th year, they really kind of put all their eggs in one basket. What do they look like coming into this season?
Yeah, Army lost a lot coming off that championship game. Air Force is kind of rebuilding. They had a down year last year, but let me tell you, Navy returns all the firepower pretty much they had a year ago. So I think Navy's going to be the service academy to watch. Okay. I think they got, a great schedule set up in the American. But when it comes to the Commander-in-Chief's trophy, that's anybody's game. Those games, you can throw all the stats, everything they've done the entire season out the window. As we saw last year, Army looked like they were going to run away with it. They won the American, and then Navy beats them in the last game of the year.
Tulane coming into this season, and then teams like UNLV and obviously Memphis. What are your chances for them, or how do you break them down this year?
Yeah, Tulane, obviously their starting quarterback freshman last year, Darian Mensah, goes to Duke. So they're trying to refill that position right now, and I'm not sure if they've quite found the guy. They're going to be, John Summerall does a great job. They're going to have athletes. They're going to be very good defensively. But I think there's a lot of question marks on offense, losing the quarterback and losing your running back, plus your top receivers. I'm sure they've reloaded in the portal. I haven't quite done a deep dive on them. I think Memphis is going to be really good. They, outside of probably Liberty, Boise State, I think Memphis with a huge donation from FedEx, probably is going to have the most money to spend in rev share. Mm-hmm. And I think that's going to play a big role moving forward. And then UNLV with the new coach, again, there's so many new coaches this year and so many new players in the transfer portal. It's really hard to kind of like peg these guys down. So you're trying to do your best analysis with the information you have. But UNLV's a bit of a question mark. I don't know what to expect with them and Dan Mullen coming in.
You mentioned Summerall down at Tulane. Are you surprised he's back?
No, he was at Tulane before. He's been a good friend of the show. We've had him on a bunch. He loves it down there. I think there's probably one job in the country that he'll probably leave Tulane unless he just gets a crazy amount of money to go somewhere else. But he's got a great situation down there. The American's a really tough conference. And if you want to talk about making the college football playoff, you can do that at Tulane. You run the table in the American, have a 1 or 2 loss team, you're going to be the playoff rep. And that's what he wants to get to. But I think at some point, if Kentucky comes calling, his alma mater, Unfortunately, I think that'd be the job that he could potentially leave for and go up there.
You mentioned Marshall and the exodus up there, starting with Charles Huff, who went to Southern Miss, and everybody followed him. What are you looking for out of the Golden Eagles out of the Sun Belt this time around?
We haven't our Sun Belt preview is the last one we'll do, so I haven't deep dove on them either, but I can say this, they're going to be loaded. This is going to be the best Southern Miss team top to bottom they've had, because they literally took, I think, every player if that was worth something off that roster from Marshall to Southern Miss. So I'm excited for them, though. That's a program that has a lot of history, and they've been in a rough spot for a long time. So if they can get that thing rolling, Huff's a great coach. I think he wanted to go there. And from what I understand, they have a pretty big donor base as well. So I think they can do some damage in this rev share space moving forward.
Jeff Murphy, group of 5 guys joining us here on Main Street Sports today on this Top 5 Tuesday. Jeff, we appreciate your time, man, and always great insight. Look forward to catching up with you again soon.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on, guys. Love the show. Keep up the great work.
Thank you,
We
Jeff.
appreciate it.
Deep in a forest at Nashville Zoo, new creatures here for you to view. Bantams graced in black and white swing high in trees of dappled light. In rocky crags, tall and steep, small antelopes with nimble feet. A wise old man with beard of white, a sentry perched on stony height. Amidst it all, a hunter lies, with coat of gold and steely eyes. A new adventure just for you. Leopard Forest at Nashville Zoo. Open now.
They walk among us, but at 240 miles per hour, they become something more. They're thrill seekers, risk takers, and maybe just a little bit unhinged. Buckle up. This new era of speed, this racing revolution, it's just getting started.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily, as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Back in to Throwback Thursday here on Main Street Sports today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. I'm Maurice Patton. That's David Wilson joining us now as we kick off our college football previews. OVC Insider, Ohio Valley Conference Insider, Bob Belvin joining us to talk a little OVC / Big South Association FCS football. Bob, good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon, gentlemen. Glad to be with you. Thank you for the invite. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you for helping us out, man, because as much as we think we'd like to know about OVC football, we like to defer to the experts when we can. And in your capacity as host of OVC Big South Media Days here about a week and a half or so ago, I figure you got a pretty good fix on what's going on. Before we go forward, let's go back. The OVC Big South had a four-way tie atop the conference in 2024 with Southeast Missouri State, Tennessee Tech, UT Martin, and Tennessee State
each going 6-2 in conference play. Parity comes to the OVC Big South. SEMO, Martin, and TSU, each with 9 regular season victories, advanced to the FCS playoffs. Tennessee Tech was the odd team out, but the Golden Eagles are picked to win the OVC Big South this fall, drawing 5 of 9 first place votes in the preseason polling. Bob, what do you like about the Golden Eagles, first of all, coming into this season?
Well, you always have transitions when you bring a new staff in, and in December of 23, that's when Bobby Wilder and his group came in. Wilder, of basically Old Dominion University fame, when he began that program in 2007 and bought that up from zero to a very competitive FBS program, and then left there. And sometimes in that case, the climb, as they say, is much more easier than the maintaining of it. And for whatever reason, he was in the market. And when the Tennessee Tech administration made a move, they made a big move. And, that coincides with the stadium demolition and reconstruction of the side nearest the Hooper Eblen Center. And so last year, if you ever could characterize something as a year of transition, it would have to be last year. You've seen the photos of Tech playing on, fans on just one side of the stadium and rubble on the other side, and a brand new coach. And they really scratched out. And it was I felt a masterful coaching job by Bobby Wilder. So flash forward, in the interim, he loses his athletic director and brings in just a massive new recruiting class to include a quarterback from Eastern Washington that's going to be their leader this year. And then all of a sudden, you get to that point you were talking about in media days, and you go, hey, I need to do a little research on these guys. And what you find out when you look at that is a team that, again, on paper, looks to be a next rung up from where they were in that 4-way share of the title. And, a great year for the OVC Big South, getting 3 teams into the playoffs last year, which is unheard of, not happened before then. And Tech felt like they were a bit slighted, and they really took that advantage. There's just a ton of new talent there, but they got some good anchors on defense with Kutris and Swafford. And I really feel like they're going to compete, and they've got a pretty favorable schedule.
Behind Tech, you've got UT Martin and SEMO slotted at 2 and 3, according to the poll. Lindenwood, Western Illinois at 4 and 5. Eastern Illinois and Gardner-Webb tied for 6. If you notice, I've still not mentioned the 4th team that was tied at the top last year.
Yeah.
Tennessee State, in this year's preseason poll, voted 8th, ahead only of Charleston Southern. And Bob, I wonder how much that has to do with the turnover that TSU had with its coaching staff at the end of the 24 season.
Yeah, the number is 45 and counting, right? I mean, new players are coming in to include an entire new coaching staff. Wow. I mean, there's a lot of excitement about what TSU could do. Looking at Reggie Barlow leaving the professional coaching ranks and going back to that, because he felt like, and all you have to do is talk to him, Maurice, and he feels like this is a heck of an opportunity for me. And look at the coaching staff he's put together. I mean, Greg Williamson, somebody we're very familiar with in this part of the world, as his defensive coordinator, also coming from the professional ranks. And then Rich Barlow's been very upfront that first week. I mean, he finished his regular season in the UFL on a Sunday. He was hired by Monday, and obviously things were going on in the background during that point in time. But once he got to Nashville, he's been very open that he had to spend a lot of time re-recruiting, as you hear coaches have to do most often. But in this quick turnaround with Eddie George leaving and all that was surrounding that, and about a 3-week gap where they didn't have a head coach at that point in time, and you can make with that what you wish. But he also is proud, Reggie Barlow is, of what he was able to keep that had thought about going to the portal, the coaching change, you're able to make a move there. So this is going to be, I mean, from an X and an O's guy, I mean, look at your head coach and your DC in that situation. That has to be attractive to players. And I just got to believe that they might be a little underrated at this point in time. But again, with an entirely new staff and everything that's going on at Tennessee State, that's a safe place to put them. It's really near the bottom. I don't think that's going to be the case when they finish up the week before Thanksgiving.
We were fortunate enough to have Mickey Allen, the athletics director at Tennessee State, on about a week and a half ago, and it wasn't long after that preseason poll came out, and he related to us that Coach Barlow said when they were announced 8th in the preseason poll, he said, "Oh, that's cute," So it, one, definitely got their attention, and two, probably won't be the last time the Tigers hear that they were picked 8th in the conference. But you mentioned Greg Williams, the longtime NFL assistant coach and defensive coordinator, famous, infamous, depending on where you want to go with his background. Yep. But the offensive coordinator, former Tennessee State quarterback, and former DC Defenders UFL championship coach Shannon Harris coming back to campus as well. And, I just kind of felt like, Bob, as soon as Barlow was announced as the head coach, the question that I was continuing to think about is Shannon coming back? Well, yeah, he is, and he did. And you talk about this coaching staff, and they've got some guys. Russ Ehrenfeld is also back coaching that offensive line. It's not the first time he's been on that campus either. I mean, they've got some name recognition with Williams, but they've also got some guys with some familiarity, one with that program, two with this conference.
Yeah, I think one of the things we often talk about, remember that cliche with athletic directors, oh, I've got 3 or 4 coaches written down a piece of paper on my desk. I think the same thing was going on with Reggie Barlow when he was in the UFL with the Washington franchise. And when I talked to him media days, he kind of relayed that, Maurice. He was like, yep. And it didn't take long until I got Greg to come or Shannon to come. And so the amount of work, if you will, that was being done in the middle of, in their playoff run with Washington, with the Renegades, really speaks to what he was doing. And wow, talk about being able to compartmentalize how you're doing, coaching that team and getting this going. And then everything just really fell into place for him. Russ Ehrenfeld, I'm glad you mentioned that because I asked Coach Barlow about that too. And Russ Ehrenfeld, I've known since the mid 80s when I was an undergrad at Austin Peay. He was on the staff there then. That guy has seen a lot. And, to see Reggie's eyes light up over the offensive line coach that he's known for a long time, that says a lot about that relationship and how far they go back and how confident Barlow is of Ehrenfeld. I mean, he's been there for a long time. And this is his 3rd stint at Tennessee State.
Obviously very comfortable there. Bob Belvin, our OVC insider, joining us here on Main Street Sports today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, as we talk a little OVC Big South football, getting our college football preview started. Bob, you can't talk about the OVC and not talk about UT Martin. I mean, they've kind of set the standard in this conference for a pretty good while. Again, one of the 3 teams from the conference that advanced to the FCS playoffs, and the only team to win a game in the playoffs. Won their opener at New Hampshire in pretty decisive fashion before going out, before falling to Montana State. So the Skyhawks and Jason Simpson again have kind of set the standard in this conference for a minute now.
Yeah, 18th season for him. And let's go ahead and name drop. It looks like his son is going to be the starting quarterback at the University of Alabama, Ty Simpson. Don't look now, but his son, Graham, is a senior at Martin Westview.
Is he finally a senior?
Feels like that for Middle Tennessee area high school football teams, right, Maurice?
Yeah, exactly.
It sure does. I believe so. I need to check on that. But yeah, Jason Simpson is kind of the, as you mentioned, the kind of the gold standard. There's a couple of beliefs, if you will, rumors, if you will, beliefs later that he would leave maybe and even go to Alabama when his son went there, or if his son went to UT, just remain in the system. And Josh Heupel would have found a job for him there. But there is never a guy that you will interview and meet and know personally, as I have the privilege of, that just is comfortable exactly where he's at in West Tennessee. He's got a great pipeline. And I was teasing him when I was talking to him in media days, and I held this piece of paper up because this is all the information available on who is going to be his starting quarterback this season, right? So they hadn't even gotten the data. The sports information folks hadn't been able to get all that accumulated, and yet he's got just great contacts. And he's got, UT Martin does, 30-plus players on the from the transfer portal that they've gotten. A lot of Power 5 transfers down in, and he lost a lot to Power 5 as well. And so I'm not going to necessarily call it a farm team. I want to be real careful about making that analogy, but he seems to have really good contacts and gets really good players, and really does a fantastic job in developing them, and they move on. He's got several on his coaching staff that have played for him in the past and kind of came back around through that route. So watch out for them. Jace Bauer is the young man that's going to be his quarterback. He's a transfer from Sam Houston State.
Coming back to the quarterback situation at TSU just a second, Bob, they apparently have had a transfer come in as well, and it's a guy with a little bit of a pedigree. Last name Palmer. One of his
I'm getting my
uncles.
notes. I had to pull my notes out on that as
well.
well. Yeah,
he is Carson and Jordan's nephew. Carson Palmer, former Heisman Trophy winner. So, I think the quarterback situation
he comes from Gardner
TSU
Webb.
is going to shape up kind of interestingly.
Yeah, I think, at the FCS level, I think it's real important, particularly talking to OVC Big South, FCS level. I think it's really important to watch the quarterbacks this year in this conference because there are a number of them. We mentioned Bauer at Martin. We've got the young man Palmer at Tennessee State that you mentioned. There's a kid at Lindenwood. Charleston Southern feels like they've gotten a transfer in that's going to help them. And all of these are generally FBS transfers down to FCS. And I think they'll make an impact. So, I think we're in this cycle now with NFL portal, all of those, or NIL portal, all of those elements that you really need to look at these quarterbacks because they're looking for opportunities to play, and the FCS level in the OVC Big South is certainly a good stopping point for them.
Bob, it seems like Mo takes all the great questions and kind of leaves us kind of barren. I like to talk dark horses, though. You guys mentioned the teams projected at the top of the OVC that are kind of picked to make some noise. I like to talk about dark horses. So who's a team maybe that the media is not talking about enough that you have on your radar that might sneak up and make some noise this fall?
Yeah, I would put Lindenwood in that group. They've got a young man. It's actually been a 3-year starter for him, but he's a transfer in. I know we're kind of wanting to focus a little bit on Middle Tennessee or Tennessee area schools. I think Lindenwood would be someone you would want to take a look at. Gardner Webb, not so much. They still have an unsettled quarterback situation there. Charleston Southern has gotten a transfer in, but I'm gonna answer your question directly with Lindenwood. I think they're a team that really played well down the stretch last year. They won their last 7. And they play the typical schedule. They're going to Oklahoma State. The really difficult ones you got to play in September. They're doing a lot of that. I'm gonna probably put Lindenwood in that. It just seems like a really good situation for everybody there. A school that still gets a little bit of a trickle of St. Louis area talent, given where they are. I'm going to stick with Lindenwood on that answer.
Absolutely. I'm going to follow up with this one really quickly before I toss it back to Mo. I just want to ask this. It's kind of an overarching question. Obviously, NIL, the transfer portal has kind of changed the world of college athletics as we see it. How do you see that kind of affecting the OVC? Obviously, with holding on to your roster, it seems like every year, regardless of what level you're at, you're not only recruiting high school talent, but also trying to recruit your own roster, keep them stay. And also, NIL has a factor to do with that as well. So, kind of talk about how that affects the OVC in your eyes.
Well, most of the teams in the conference have a collective at some point in time, or actually a lot of that has actually happened in the last 6 months, really. In this calendar year, you've seen a lot of that happen. So that's into place. But let's be real. The bigger market, the biggest market team and the biggest team that could really benefit from all this is Tennessee State. They're in the biggest market in the conference. Obviously, I mentioned Lindenwood on the periphery of St. Louis, but that's just, Lindenwood is not to St. Louis like Tennessee State could be to Nashville. So there's a lot of great opportunities there. And that's where your donor dollars and your collectives are so important. And a lot of these schools are sharing a development officer and with the school itself. So there's not a dedicated one for athletics or director of football operations. You're seeing that a little bit in some of the schools inside of the conference, while the director of football operations in a job sense, assignment sense, handles the day-to-day. They're also involved in some element of fundraising to get there as well. The coaches are just struggling as they do day to day. This job is at this level, I think, is harder than maybe the bigger programs are with the bigger resources to be able to devote to the kinds of jobs I was talking about. But to a man, and I know it's preseason, but to a man, when I talk to them, they're not the least bit discouraged by what is going on around them. They anticipate going forward this kind of volatility where they've got to replace 35 to 45 players each season on their roster. Again, I was real careful with the UT Martin description, but I think there's some great relationships, if you will. I'll just stop at that word. They kind of speak to getting transfers in and having them go out and having them for a place to land on the other side of it. So they're managing all of that, but they're managing all of that at what I like to call base level or grassroots, without the resources that you're seeing the Power 5 conferences have. And so all in all, they're doing a great job of what they're doing. At the end of the day, and in my line of work in the real world too, at the end of the day, it's all about raising dollars. And a lot of them, because they lack that big market exposure, lack that big market access, I think they struggle with it. But it doesn't, and I want to be real careful what I say, because it does not impact the product on the field. The product on the field is really good. It's really good, top to bottom. You got private schools in the OVC Big South Association, and you've got public schools in it. Their challenges are still the same, and I think they're doing a heck of a job with it. I applaud them, because there are multiple hats to wear that you would not have. Heck, we wouldn't have thought of that a year ago. Some of the needs that are going on.
Bob Belvin, our OVC insider, joining us here on Main Street Sports today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Bob, as I look at the makeup of the OVC Big South Association, as they refer to it, 9 teams, 7 Ohio Valley Conference members, 2 Big South members. Is there any talk of the OVC going back to strictly an OVC for football, or what is the status of this association right now, to your knowledge?
Commissioner Montgomery and Commissioner DeBush were speaking in the media day preceding the coaches and players interviews, and I believe this association for football only has been extended to the 27 season, I believe. I'll have to check on that. So growth, I don't know that. I mean, the conference will say, and properly so, we're always open and looking to that. But when you get to football, I think this is the proper number of schools that are playing football, because keep in mind the OVC has some non-playing non-football playing schools where you get the basketball, which is a whole nother big enchilada, if you will. So I think you're going to remain the same for another 2 seasons. It's worked out really well. This past season, the 24 season, marked the entire round where all schools have played each other in that association as they integrated that into the scheduling formula. That's kind of where we are with that. I think the worst trip, it was more difficult, if you will. I've got to be careful with the worst trip. It was more difficult when Robert Morris was in, because Robert Morris had dropped out, I believe, and joined either the NEAC, where Travis Teletasi is, or the MAC, Mid-America, MAAC, along
MAC.
the MAC. That's right.
Yeah.
Thanks, Maurice. So that was a long trip, because that season they tried to get as close as they could get, but they still ended up, I believe, that UT Martin, I think, with the Robert Morris that year, the only year they were in the conference. And pardon my Southern English, but there ain't no easy way.
No, you can't get there from here, is what we say around here.
Yeah. So some of them, I think, obviously the easternmost school in that is going to be Charleston Southern. And I know the Tennessee Tech has to go to Charleston Southern this season.
Okay. That Western Illinois Charleston Southern trip's got to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, because repeat after me, there ain't no easy way to get there.
Exactly. You like Tennessee Tech at the top?
Yes, but a hesitant yes, Maurice. I mean,
I hear that.
I'm intrigued. Yeah, could you sense that? I really like Tennessee State. I really like UT Martin, and I like SEMO. I like SEMO because year over year, that's a team that's built on defense. We all know the cliche about defense. It travels very well, and then that's a Tom Matukowicz team. And then in each season, it seems like they found a quarterback in the portal. They may have done that this season as well, and they're able to score a lot, and they defend really well. So I would say the usual 4 suspects, and on the outside, I would say Eastern Illinois. They seem to be catching their stride a little bit. Their recruiting seems to be better locally, and they got a really favorable schedule. They got 7 home games this season.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Bob, we appreciate you taking some time with us this afternoon and look forward to catching up with you as we get down into the season.
Appreciate you. Thanks for the invite, and I'm always here for you. Appreciate you guys. Enjoy the show too.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's take a break here, our final break here on Throwback Thursday on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Let's come back. Let's get into the grab bag. Stick around.
Being in Tennessee, we wanted to try to keep it as local as possible, so we have an entire section of our menu that is just dedicated to local whiskeys like Uncle Nearest, Jack Daniels, of course, George Dickel, Nelson Brothers, Greenbrier whiskey, and all of our taps are all local. From 2 o'clock until midnight, we've got food every day for you guys. A good handful of appetizers, some entrees, and a couple salads and things like that. My name is Ethan Kanana. Please come down and see us at the Pick Lobby Bar here at the Omni in Nashville.
At Delta Dental of Tennessee, we know our success begins and ends with providing superior quality service, and that includes serving those who need it most. This year, we're celebrating 25 years of giving back to the community we call home. Delta Dental, along with our Smile 180 Foundation, supports Tennessee's dental colleges and oral health education, children's hospitals, free and reduced cost dental clinics, and other like-minded charities. Here's to the next 25 plus years of ensuring healthy smiles.
There's a line that links us all. Most of the time, we don't even think about it, but it's everywhere. Illuminating our neighborhoods, empowering our businesses, and helping us to recharge. Whether it comes from our grids, the sun, or a kind heart, we believe in the power of good energy. And as your family and region continue to grow, you can trust that we'll always be there for you. Middle Tennessee Electric, bringing good energy.
It is the final segment of the Throwback Thursday edition of Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. That's David Wilson. I'm Maurice Patton. I'm the guy that steals all of David's good questions. Sorry, Dave.
You do, and you just following up one by one by one. I'm like, man, he's just gonna take them. He's gonna leave me stranded again.
Man, I apologize. I'll try to do better.
I'm bitter. I'm bitter, to say the least.
I can tell. I'll try to do better. It's been a rough
day, Mo. Rough. We got off to a rough start, but we landed the plane.
We have landed the plane. Now we just got to get through this final 10 minutes without getting at each other's throats. But yeah, before we get into what we were going to talk about, want to let Nashville Sounds fans know, if you were going to try to listen to the Sounds in Scranton Bear in game 3 of that series, don't. That game has been postponed due to tomorrow instead. We'll get you more information on that heading into tomorrow's doubleheader. But Sounds and the Rail Riders have been postponed for today, so stand down on that. You can instead watch the Pro Football Hall of Fame game tonight. There's actually televised live real football tonight. It's the Chargers and the Lions taking the field in Canton, Ohio. And Trey Lance is expected to get the start for the Chargers. Justin Herbert's going to sit. And as I saw being tweeted yesterday when this was announced, for a lot of folks, it was probably just then that they realized that Trey Lance was with the Chargers.
Yeah, he's bounced around quite a bit. Obviously started off his career with the 49ers, then went on to be a backup quarterback for Dak in Dallas, and now with the Chargers. So I'm telling you, Mo, Charlie Whitehurst is my example. You can make a lot of money just holding a clipboard on the sidelines and being a backup quarterback that wears the earpiece. So we picked the wrong profession. Maybe our athletic ability was probably the root of that. But it'd be nice to be a backup quarterback. I never get hit. I get the paycheck. Slap them on the butt as they come by. It's a nice little gig.
Anytime you can get a reference to Clipboard Jesus on the show, it's a good day. So yeah, Charlie Whitehurst, good stuff there. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what Lance looks like. We've been hearing his name for so long, it kind of escapes you that he's only 25, man. He's still got some football ahead of him if he can just get in a situation where he can get on the field. And I'm not sure that this is necessarily it either, but I'm interested to see what he looks like. They've also got DJ Uiagalelei, former Clemson, Oregon State, Florida State quarterback in camp, and I imagine he'll get on the field at some point tonight. Meanwhile, the Lions have former UT quarterback Hendon Hooker. I don't know if Jared Goff is expected to play tonight or not, but I would imagine we're going to see some Henny at some point tonight. So it's going to be a fun watch. I will actually pay some attention to this, especially since there's nothing baseball to really keep my attention. So it's football time.
Yeah, it's worse the fact there's only 3 baseball games going on across the country tonight at the professional MLB level, and that the Braves are one of them, and they just suck you in. So I'm probably going to end up watching, but I'm still looking at my phone, Mo. I'm like, I need a trade. And I just saw where a reunion is back in place. I don't know if you've seen this news yet. Carlos Correa is headed back to H-Town. So
I kind of hate that.
For the Astros.
The Astros had an injury with Jeremy Pena, and he's been out for a little bit. But they've had a rookie who has swung a pretty good stick for them.
Cam Smith?
No, not Cam Smith. At second base, a guy that they brought up here recently, Bryce somebody, who like hit 3 home runs.
Correa's going to end up playing. Correa's going to play third base because Paredes hurt his hamstring.
Oh, wow.
Wow. So they're going through it. They got Jesus Sanchez from the Marlins, too. Everybody's willing and dealing, Mo. Except the
Braves. Well, you sent Montero to Detroit. What more did you want? Come on now.
There's a big bear. There's a bear problem.
There's a bear problem.
There's a closure problem. I mean, I can go on. I mean, we got 4 minutes, but I could ran into the microphone for a minute.
Again, we got football tonight. Chargers Lions. That's a 7:00 kick. I'm not sure where it is television wise. Hang on just a second. I should know that. It is on NBC. So it'll be Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth, I would imagine. So that should be fun. But Cincinnati, their national nightmare apparently is over with. Trey Hendrickson has ended his holdout, has come to camp. His arrival.
Is he a willing participant though?
I'm not sure how willing he was, but he said things are exactly the same as when he left.
There you go.
Also did not answer whether or not he is optimistic the deal will get done. So the goal was always to be in Cincinnati. Some things transpired. It became public that I left to go to Florida, but it was never something that I wasn't going to be here to help the 2025 Bengals. Ooh, okay. So I don't know if it got down to the $50,000 a day that he was losing for not being at practice or what it was. What I'm not gonna do is, as best as I can, avoid being a distraction. I'm not going to diagram that sentence because I'm not sure it says what he meant for it to say. I want to help the guys that have helped me along the way. DeMario Davis, Cam Jordan, even Sam Hubbard helped me a lot when I was here. So to be that right now, I think that's what's most important. This narrative will kind of iron itself out as we continue to progress toward the season. Again, Hendrickson, the top sacker in the NFL last year, and
he deserves a payday, bro. We kind of talked about this yesterday really quickly about Cincinnati. Look at all the guys that they have to pay. You got Trey, you got Jamar, you have Joe, and you have T. I mean, those are 4 elite players right there that are going to garner top money at their position. And this ownership group in Cincinnati, they're not willing to pay out the coin.
Yeah, and obviously had the situation with Shamar Stewart as well. Finally got him into camp over some contract language, but yeah. It feels like if you're an NFL team and you're in Ohio, you find ways to make things more difficult. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, real quick before we get out of here, South Carolina women's basketball will be without Ashlyn Watkins apparently for the upcoming season. Tore an ACL in January, but also had some other off-court issues, and she has just decided she's going to step back for the 25-26 season and come back in 26-27. So Dawn minus a key component as they get ready to make another run for a national title this year. Stay tuned. That's going to do it for the Throwback Thursday edition of Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Join me and Wade Neely tomorrow as we close out the week on the weekend warm-up edition of Main Street Sports Today. We appreciate y'all joining us. We'll see you tomorrow at 2:00.